Hi and welcome to this Autoemotional presentation. Now, normally at this point I'll introduce what the vehicle is, but as you can see I've even got birds around me screaming out what this thing is, and it really does not need any introduction. In all honesty, I can just stop talking and just walk around the car for 10 minutes and I know that no one's going to be disappointed. This is, of course, for those who do need an introduction, if they've been lying under a rock since the wheel began, the one, the only, the Dodge Viper. Now, for those of you uninitiated, this thing is, you kind of have to sign a pact to say that you're not going to take the previous owner or the company to court, because you need to be able to handle a car when you drive this. Don't think that you've been driving an S-Class or a Prado for 5 years and you've got experience and you can jump in this thing, turn the key and drive off. Believe me, before you even get in the car, you'll burn yourself on the side exhaust if you don't know what you're doing. This is a Dodge Viper. A Viper is one of the world's most dangerous snakes. You need to take a bit of a clue from that. Now, we're going to start this thing right at the end for one very simple reason. The noise that this thing emits from its, wait for it, 8.4 litre engine. I'll say that once again, 8.4 litre engine running 620 brake horsepower at the wheels. Now, the at the wheels bit is the important bit. Lots of car manufacturers will quote you a brake horsepower figure, and basically that's at the block. So they'll bench test an engine and they'll put the diagnostics and the dynamos on it and they'll run the car and they'll come up with this fantastic figure. But what they forget to tell you is that it loses a lot of its power by the time it goes from the engine through the axle, through the gearbox, and eventually onto the black stuff, the tarmac. On this particular car, however, 620 at the wheels means it's probably making something in the region of 670 at the crank, which, if you know about cars, is somewhat incredible. It's got a 2.3 litre 𝗢𝗠𝗢𝗡 supercharger. Now, I'm going to try and do something here and hopefully not distress the vehicle. This bonnet is so light, I'm lifting it with one finger, because the majority of this car is fiberglass. Very scary stuff, because you've got all that power, 8.4 litres, and no ABS, no power steering. This vehicle is built for someone who enjoys the thrill of the car and who knows what it's like to live on the edge. It really is that sort of a vehicle. It's not even the sort of car that you can drive every day unless you're really looking for a workout. But believe me, once you've started this thing, it is really hard to put the keys down. Now, the owner of this vehicle is only selling it because of family circumstances. Otherwise, this would be stored away. This is not only a modern classic, but it's also an appreciating vehicle that really and truly, well, put it this way, forget all social media. If you want to make friends, you buy yourself a Dodge Viper. The amount of people that come up to us, look at us, stare, take photographs, and just are inquisitive about the vehicle is somewhat unbelievable. There's a dialogue going on in the back of this footage that's actually taking place with the actual owner and just a passerby who's so interested in what we're doing and how unique this vehicle is. Being here in the UAE, obviously, we're fortunate enough to see many hypercars on the road, the McLarens, the Koenigseggs, so on and so forth. But this thing is still ranked as one of the most pinnacle-esque vehicles. This is a poster car for all those born in the 70s and 80s, and it stood the test of time. Unique shape, unique design. There you can see the 𝗢𝗠𝗢𝗡 supercharger. It's got so much work carried out lovingly, painstakingly on this engine that we're going to have to document everything in text format, because there's no way I'm going to remember everything in this video. And not only that, to be honest, when you have the keys for this thing, you're really not thinking about what's under the hood. You're thinking about jumping in and turning the engine, which I will do right at the end, purely because, like I said previously, the noise that this thing puts out is somewhat avalanchic, if that's a word. If not, it should be, and it should be reserved for this particular Dodge Viper. Now, it's got coilovers all the way around, and it's sitting very high, so it's not rubbing, scraping or bumping. You can slam this thing to the deck, you can dial this thing in so that it's showroom low. And of course you can do that, it still drives very good, but of course you're going to scrape on humps. So at the moment it's raised up, you can adjust all of that. The amount of work that's gone on this vehicle and underneath the bonnet is incredible. It really is a fantastic list, showing just how much love and attention and how much money and time someone spent on the vehicle, getting all the correct parts from the best network that they could find internationally, and then getting it all set up and tuned properly. Remember, 620 brake horse at the wheel, fiberglass 8.4. This thing is not for the faint-hearted. Stepping into the vehicle, you have got to be so careful. You've got these sills, which are kind of like a warning, letting you know that if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you could be in some big trouble here. This is a vehicle that really does take some how do I say it, appreciation and respect. I think respect is the word that's going to be synonymous with this particular vehicle. It's a V10, and there's a reason why it's my wife's favorite car as well. It's just a huge chunk of metal with lots of power on the hood, much like myself, but this one seems to be in rather better condition at the moment. Stepping into the vehicle, I'm going to have to switch hands here and fish out the keys and remote central locking. You can also pop the boot off the remote there as well. In all honesty, it's a good enough space to put all your golf clubs in there, so not much more else to say about that. You actually really do sink in to the driver's cockpit. Huge sills, as you can see there. You know, you're talking about 8 to 10 inches wide, electric mirrors and windows as well, all fully functioning. You've got that brushed aluminium bezel all the way around the gear selector there as well. Now, I'm going to turn this on right at the end because I don't want to disturb the neighbours. I will do so, I know I've been promising, but letting you know of some of the ancillary items. You've got an SRS airbag there, and you also have one for the front passenger. And in all honesty, when you get in this car and you hear this thing start up, you'll pray, and the car really does behave very well. It's just when you put your foot down and this thing climbs over anything past 3.5 to 4,000 revs, 620 brake horses at the wheels, 400 Newton meters of torque plus 8.4 litre engine, 2.3 litre Paxson supercharger, and a host of goodies means that basically your eyes are fixed all the way through over those louvered bonnet, and you tend to try and keep your eye on the speedometer, which goes all the way to 320 kilometers, by the way, but you can't help but trying to keep your eyes fixed on the black stuff, and the admiring glances come through loud and clear. So we're going to close this video now because, in all honesty, I just want to go for a spin in this thing, and I'm going to make sure that I don't jump out of gear. It's in neutral, and if I just start this thing up, I normally rev the thing just to let you know what the engine sounds like, but in all honesty, I don't think that's going to leave me in good stead with the neighbours around here. Believe me when I tell you that this thing is bubbling away. That V10 engine is letting you know that it's wanting to drive. If we switch the AC on, which actually works remarkably well, there's no boisterous noise coming from the cabin, none of the plastics rattling or rolling. This car's put together and then lovingly maintained and upgraded by its keeper. I'm going to dip the gas on this thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank you so much previously for watching this radio presentation by Autoemotional, ladies and gentlemen, because I know that I'm going to have neighbours running out their houses wondering if there's an earthquake going on. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this 8.4 litre 620 brake horsepower 2.3 litre Paxson supercharged drop dead, gorgeous red Viper is up for sale exclusively with Autoemotional, and we thank you for taking the time to watch and to listen to this video, and just check this thing out. Oh, now that's Autoemotional.